conversation doesn't need to be serious all the time.
Yeah.
Like, make it fun.
It is fun. It's like, it's magic. It's like, what allows us to like connect with people. If you can do it well, it is literally a cheat code to life, and it should feel fun because it is. Like, if you can make all the money in the world, but you have no one to spend it with,
Yeah.
it's a boring life.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a special guest. Meet Dylan Miracle. This is my friend who is an expert in conversation, confidence, and charisma. And I wanted to invite him on for my new expert series. Before we start, I want everyone to go follow Dylan on Instagram and TikTok. So I will have him linked below. So my first question for you, if somebody wanted to instantly be more confident tomorrow, what would be the 3 pieces of advice you would give them?
So I think the first place to start, instead of focusing externally, is to focus internally and to heal your relationship with yourself. It does start by changing the way that you view yourself. One of the easiest ways. It's hard to do it overnight, but I think if you keep the promises you make to yourself, I think that's a great first place to start. The next piece of that would be, a lot of us focus on, in conversation, what does this other person think of me? So if we can then instead ask ourselves, do I like them? Not do they like me? It keeps our focus on the internal, and we'll start to detach ourselves from the outcome of that conversation. The next thing is, I think oftentimes we're too outcome focused in conversations, and that pulls our confidence and presence away. If we can separate that and just recognize conversation as nothing but feedback, not winning or losing, I'm just engaging in the process. And so if the conversation goes well or it goes bad, it doesn't matter, because I'm playing a different game altogether. I'm just trying to get better.
In my mind, how I approach conversations now, that almost makes it more fun and I look forward to it, is I think to myself, what can I learn from this person?
If most people did that, I think it would change like 90% of their conversations. We detest small talk because it feels very formulaic, but in order to have deep and meaningful talk, you have to learn how to have small talk that goes somewhere.
That's really interesting, because I think we all kind of instinctively hate the idea of small talk, but it's a bridge, maybe.
It's a bridge. Okay. That's all it is.
So what is effective small talk?
Pattern interrupts. It's being different. I think a lot of people think of small talk. The reason we all detest small talk is because it's the same thing over and over. It's how was the weather? How was your day? This, that, and the other. And it's the things that we're expected to say. So I think asking a fun question like you did, we have these scripts, so we're just used to having it. Whereas someone comes in with a smile on their face and say, what's the craziest customer experience you've had? Immediately is a pattern interrupt. And that's an element of small talk. And that's going to breed that's going to be a better bridge for deeper conversation.
One technique that I've been doing lately and I found very effective, I say, what's the best thing that's happened to you this week? Or what's making you happy today? And then they start talking about something that brings them joy, and then their energy is up.
Yeah.
And then they kind of are connecting that happy energy with me.
Totally.
Like,
yeah. You do a great job of that. Like
Thank you.
You're exceptional. Well, I say a lot. It's less about what you say, but how you say it. Because the reason that you're having better conversations is because you're rooted in a better energy.
One thing that's interesting, when I lived in Senegal, every single conversation would start with people asking, how are you? In 5 different ways. Once I asked, why does everyone do this? They said, well, it's because they actually care and they really want to know.
Oftentimes if we can take it a level deeper, it's like, well, why don't I like small talk? It's I don't like it because it feels formulaic. And so it's not that, or I'm bad at it.
And change the formula. So it's not formulaic.
Exactly. And reframing the way that you're viewing it. Because it's not bad or good. It's not that small talk sucks. It's just that we haven't found a better way to have small talk. If I'm approaching a stranger, our brainstem lights up. Our brainstem is what controls our fear response. And so way back when we would see a stranger in a tribe, that meant potential death. And so when we approach a stranger, our brainstem is lighting up and their brainstem is lighting up. So we're just kind of two safety nets that are trying to avoid each other. So small talk oftentimes is the bridge to let each other know that it's safe, so we can actually have a good conversation.
Whoa, that's an interesting way to think about it. So it's just like kind of aligning your nervous systems.
That's exactly what it is. That's a great way to say it. Yeah.
So then you can progress to the next level. Okay.
And if I don't know you and I don't trust you and I go right into deep talk, I don't know you. Like, why are you asking me these things? Why are you prying? My nervous system's unregulated, where small talk can kind of regulate the nervous system.
Now, do you think that it's better to approach any conversation, but initial conversation, to match that person's energy?
I would say it's a blend of the two. I actually think that it's better to be a thermostat and set the temperature than to adjust your temperature to the room.
Be a thermostat, not a thermometer.
Exactly.
Put that on a shirt.
At the same time, though, I do think understanding that sometimes you're going to have to dial yourself up or down depending on the environment. I'm still setting the temperature. If I can feel that they're a little bit nervous, I will purposely dial my temperature down so that I can meet them and I can help regulate their nervous system. And then I'll slowly dial them back up. So that might
Okay.
mean in some elements, if I'm talking to an introvert and they're giving me one word answers, I'll call out the script and I'll be like, oh, you're clearly someone that likes to talk a lot. And then I'll start asking
Oh, that's funny.
sillier questions because they don't want to talk about that stuff yet. They're not comfortable with me. So I'll ask silly questions first to kind of be playful. And then once I have their guard down, then I'll start asking the questions I actually want to ask.
We all need to be more playful. Conversation doesn't need to be serious all the time.
Yeah.
Like, make it fun.
It is fun. It's like, it's magic. It's like, it's the what allows us to like connect with people. It's beautiful. And it's like, I think conversation when done well, charisma, whatever you want to call it, like when done well, it's genuinely like magic. Like it's the single thing that can transcend like your wealth. It can transcend your health. It can transcend the way you look. If you can do it well, it is literally a cheat code to life, and it should feel fun because it is. Like if you can make all the money in the world, but you have no one to spend it with,
Yeah.
it's a boring life.
What would you say is the worst conversation you've ever had? And what did you learn from it?
I'm in my social inertia rule, second person that I'm talking to, and like I ask her one question, and that's all I needed to ask. I have one time, and then she talked for 15 minutes. And I was just like looking for, I was like trying to find a bridge. I couldn't even interrupt to say goodbye. Like I had to literally wait until she had completed her thought. And I was like, I don't even think she must have passed out after because she didn't take a breath. She didn't take a breath. There was no opportunity for me to leave. So that's an example. I had a first date about a year ago, gone to stay with this girl, and just within minutes, she's complaining about her friends and this, that, and the other. And I almost did the woman thing where I'm like, go to the bathroom, like have my friend call me. I'm like, please get me out of here. But I decided I'm like,
So very negative energy.
negative energy,
Okay.
complaining, didn't ask a ton of questions.
The one that I run into is people are giving me nothing. Like I am being genuinely curious. I don't want to be an interviewer,
Yeah.
but I feel like I'm pulling teeth. So what would you do in that scenario?
Number one is I think sometimes we'll ask close-ended questions. I think that we have to give people different olive branches of conversations so they can cling on to the ones that they want to continue to expand on or that they find interesting. So if you ask me, where are you from? I say, well, I can give you the short answer or the long answer. So I'm going to find the answer between the two. So I'll give you the medium answer. How about that? Now, right away, you're intrigued by my answer. And I'm saying, well, I grew up in Michigan, super small town. I was one of 2,500 people, the kind of town that if you sneeze, people heard it. And then when I was 12, I moved across the country to California. I was one of the only white kids. And then I moved to the coast. And so now I've given you a lot of different olive branches. And then whatever you find interesting, you're more than likely going to unpack. And now we can have a more riveting conversation. If they're just introverted and maybe uncomfortable by the conversation, I will then just start to ask silly questions. If you were a guy, what kind of guy would you be? And they're like,
What would your
"What?"
name be with
Yeah.
your bio?
Yeah, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I know." I'm like, well, because if I was a girl, I would definitely wear a Pilates set. So but like the laugh.
I love that. You
But
would
because
wear
like
the set.
I think the perfect conversation, if you can look at it from like a four-way Venn diagram, you have ideas, the things that you talk about, you have curiosity, the questions you ask, then you have play, which is what we were talking about earlier, banter, like it being fun, lighthearted, and then you have depth, right? Your storytelling and all that stuff. At the center of that is magic. So if you can
Ooh.
kind of blend all of it together, it's a really good way to have better conversations.
What I usually do is I try to find something that they seem excited about.
Yeah,
So my favorite question I ask, what's a random niche interest you have?
that's awesome.
Because a lot of people
Yeah.
have it and they don't have an opportunity to talk about it. Like
Mhm.
that would be like catnip for me. If I would be like,
Thank
well,
you.
let me tell you
I've been waiting for something.
all about the Count of Monte Cristo and the lore. I would feel so seen.
If you can make someone feel like they're the only person in the room and you're incredibly present and ask thoughtful questions that you actually care about the answer to, and you engage and your body language shows that you're actually interested in what they say, and then you call it the scripts and you let them feel comfortable and feel seen like really in a way that they haven't, people are not going to forget you ever.
I think also put your phone away.
Yeah.
How do you feel about phones?
Oh my gosh. I will tell people, give me 1 second. I just need to send this text because I don't want to be rude. I want my full attention on you because you deserve that.
What would you say are, if you had to distill it down to like 3 to 5 things that you can do to be more memorable and have better connections with people?
I would over index on the questions that I ask. And I would be I would get really good at asking thought-provoking questions. I would learn how to tell better stories. I think a lot of people tell stories with no point. I think the quality of your inputs affect the quality of your outputs. So I think if you read more and listen to more interesting things, you'll have more interesting ideas to talk about, more curious about other people. In general, I think that if you did nothing else, that will make you more memorable. The last thing you said, it was like being more memorable or deepen your connections. I think doing little things that are going to cut through the noise. So I would write letters to people, like even if I'm just staying with them for a little bit, write letters instead of just call. Like a lot of people send DMs now and stuff like that. If someone does something good, instead of shooting them a DM, if you have the urge to do that, like as soon as you have that impulse, call them instead and just say, "Hey, I'm really proud of you." And if you know someone's struggling, offering to sit in the mud with them as opposed to just trying to give them advice or ways to deepen.
So I will be waiting for my carrier pigeon
Yes,
note from
exclusively.
you after this visit. No, I really love what you just said, and I need to implement that in my own life. A handwritten letter
Yeah.
in 2026?
The easiest way to deepen your relationships is to do things that are slightly inconvenient. Birthday, send them a video instead of sending them a text, an audio, like a voice audio, not the 3-minute one, but just a quick one. Just adding a semi-personal touch in the world of like easy to do this is going to it's just going to make it unforgettable. People remember forever.
So Dylan has this framework for having difficult conversations, and I think he went viral for this.
I call it the hard conversation pyramid. It's very important that you follow this order of steps to make sure that you have a better conversation. This works with anybody, but if you have people in your life that are typically a little bit more emotionally immature, that can't regulate their emotions, well, this works. So at the foundation of it, I want to brace them for impact. The way that I do that is I say, "Hey, I have something tough to bring up," and I'll let it sit and I'll watch them regulate their nervous system.
Oh, wow.
And they'll take a deep breath. I will then say, because if I'm a recovering people pleaser, I'm nervous as hell to say this. "Hey, I'm kind of nervous because I'm not exactly sure how you're going to respond. So my delivery, the words that I say might not be 100% correct, but I want you to understand my intention." Now we're third piece of it. I say my intention, why I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
The reason I'm bringing up this hard conversation is because I care about you. I care about us. I don't want this to turn into resentment. That being said, and then I deliver what I have to say. So now I've allowed them to brace and regulate their nervous system. I've told them that my delivery might be off. And I've also said what my intention behind the conversation is, so that even if I use the wrong words because I'm nervous, that they understand that the root underneath all of it is coming from love, not out of, "Hey, you're doing something wrong." Yeah.
I think a lot of this, for the people watching, this applies to relationships and to your marriages and
100%.
things. I think
Yeah.
if more difficult conversations and relationships started off that way, it would completely change the trajectory of that conversation and make it a lot more positive.
And I'm of the belief, I think if we're still arguing in 2026, it's a you problem. I think it's a skill problem. I know it's a pretty hot take, but I don't believe in arguing. I believe in disagreeing. I think disagreement is so healthy. I think pressure makes diamonds. I think the right amount of disagreement and pushback is actually very, very healthy.
I want to start a podcast because I have so many things to say from that. Should we start a podcast? Let me know. I'm telling you guys, I consume a lot of content, a lot. Dylan's like, he's legit, and his name is Dylan Miracle. Like, how can you not want to follow him? So make sure you follow him. I'll put him down below.
Yeah, I also have a community of people trying to get better at this every single day. I built this because it's what I wish I had when I was 12. Because what you guys don't know is, I always struggled like in my head. I was very in my head about this stuff, and I know it's learnable. So I built a community that I wish I had when I first got started when I was 12.
Let's thank Dylan for being here. If you liked him, I would do a future episode specifically on people pleasing. But thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you all for watching.
Bye. Thanks for watching.